Good evening from all the corners of Soweto, Johannesburg, Gauteng, South Africa, and all the hinterlands of Africa. Welcome to Sakumzi, the restaurant that provides the proper traditional South African food, soul food. And welcome again to the Sello Maake Ncube Foundation, conversations between fathers and sons. Yes, we are trying to deal with the scourge of gender-based violence. We appeal to all men to stand up and take charge and take responsibility as we eradicate the scourge. Oh, my brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, uncles and aunts, young men and young women, this is Talking Cure. We're talking cure so that we can reflect. We're talking cure so that fathers can start taking up an ownership. We're talking cure so that we can take responsibility and accountability. So out there, put your whatever, sit down, listen to the conversation, and in one way or the other, you yourself reflect. What is it that you are dealing with? And as we're trying to find the cure for this this scourge of gender-based violence, we have in the room me and my sons. Lindo on the far right. Here close to me is the eldest Uputwaka. We leave the best for last in the family. You know, and I have my visitors from the Taxi Association. Tate Tumeling, introduce yourself and tell us where you from and all the listeners.
My name is Mr. Itumilen Anthony Chambata, Public Relations Officer of Toyota Taxi Association.
Okay. Yes, Rajoj.
Good evening, the viewers of Soweto TV. My name is George Emmanuel Maake. I'm the spokesperson for Top 6.
Okay.
So Top 6 is a structure that most of taxi associations, they affiliate under Top 6.
Okay.
We are this structure which carries all the taxi associations around the whole Jozi, nationally, province, you know, all those areas. You know, we've got a lot of taxi association under our umbrella.
Okay, yes. Brilliant. And you know, we have started with her, you know, and we are going to, it's like we're going to the end with her. My lady, the rose among thorns.
Good evening, viewers at home. My name is Palesa Brown. I'm all the way from Brits. It's good to be here. The rose, the only rose amongst the thorns. Thank you so much, Ndata Maake.
Thank you, Palesa. Yes, we are dealing with this problem. And please like our Facebook pages. Official Sello Maake Ncube and the Sello Maake Ncube Foundation, and follow our Twitter handles. #SelloMKN_sons, change your attitude. #SelloMKN_sons, change is possible. #SelloMKsons, do good to be good. Commit daily to changing your behavior. Commit daily, making it the birthplace of your new self. We've got gender-based violence existence in our community. And I would like to start with you, Ms. Palesa. Your experience as far as gender-based violence is concerned, and what you can share with us. I think you should lay the table for us and lead us in the direction that we can take in trying to deal with this scourge.
Okay. Thank you, Ndata Maake. first of all, I would actually, today I think it is really a privilege to be seated amongst the taxi associations, Doljota and the top 6. I think the reason why I am seated here because I experienced something that was very cruel, irrespective of whether it was this taxi association or whichever. Yeah. But then at the end of the day, it happened, and taxis were involved. So I think you also saw the need why it was important for me today to actually be here and share this platform so that we know I don't hold them accountable, but then they need to know what actually happens within the industry in absentia. So Ntate Itumeleng, Ntate George, I was gang raped by 7 men. In Rustenburg, I was abducted, taken for 3 days. Friday, I'm just going to give you so that we can get this topic rolling. Yes. So I was abducted Friday, Saturday, Sunday, released Monday morning near the Winnie Mandela Squatter Camp in Tembisa. And this because to me at the time, the taxi was my only mode of transport. And unfortunately, I trusted I didn't have any other mode because there were 2 women inside and I felt that it was safe. And not realizing that that day would be the day. And I sit here, I'm fully healed, hence I'm vocal about it. But then I felt that it's important for me to come out and voice if given the platform and the opportunity. And I would like to thank Dr. Maake for the opportunity because we are yet to have such conversations so that we don't actually, we're not saying we are blaming you guys, but then we also want you guys to understand what is actually happening. It might not be your taxi association, but things are happening out there. And this is basically what happened to me. And this is the gender-based violence that I had to experience within the taxi association.
There it is, Dr. Malik. For me, when I look at the whole thing of gender-based violence, and just look at how our society, basically, the way we are socialized, and I think, I just wonder what your responses are as far as dealing with GBV, and even in response to what our Palesa, has experienced.
Yeah. It's so sad, to hear, such a story. Yeah. It's not what it's supposed to happen, Yeah. Says Palesa, we apologize as a taxi association, even if it happens some years ago, we do apologize. We cannot say this is right. Which is totally wrong. It shouldn't happen to anybody. Yeah. Nobody's got a right to anybody's body, to do whatever he likes to do on that person. Yeah. Nobody's got any right to my body. Nobody's got any right to abuse me. Nobody's got any right to have any violence to anybody. Yeah. So. As a taxi association and a taxi structure top 6, we'd say we apologize. Yeah. What we do, in our associations, we have training officers, which always give them material to train our drivers in terms of customer care and all those things. There's a lot of what you call gender. GBV in taxi associations. Yeah. You can go anywhere, you'll get a GBV. Once you get abused by anybody, violent, it's not right. You can be abused sexual, you can be abused, verbal, which is not right. Absolutely. We're not saying that should happen. People who did all these things. Yeah. Sorry, Palesa. Yeah, sorry. Don't cry, sorry. People who did whatever, to me, you don't belong to society. Yeah. you need to be taken. You know, it's a pity that, you know, these death sentences are no longer there. You know? We used to call them hangpans. You know,
Exactly,
they are no longer there. You
Yeah.
know, you don't belong to any society. If you rape, you know, rape, it's even worse. You know, your domestic violence, it's even worse as well. You know, you don't belong to any society. You need to be taken. You know, to be hanged, or you know, death sentence must be returned to this country, because after, you know, after the apartheid has gone, you know, and the death sentence was also gone, you know, people are doing as they wish, you know, which is not right. I'm not condoning that. You know, I'm saying, look, Sis Palesa, we are so sorry as Top 6, you know, we look into your matter. You know, I'd love to have maybe your number so that we can call you as a top 6 structure. We'll sit down with you and, you know, go through all these things, you know, and then perhaps have our training officer as well.
Exactly.
Into the room. Sis Palesa must give us the story as I've got a story.
Exactly.
You know, he must also give the Top 6 the story and say this has happened to me.
Exactly.
But you know, training officer must do their work, because if you are a training officer, you need to be able to train your drivers, you know, so that they can behave. You cannot just take anybody and say you are driving a taxi, then you know you adapt a person for 3 days, which is not right.
You know that, Malika, you know, I decided to have these conversations and invited my boys with, and I think for me it was after having reflected first and foremost on how I was raised, the environment I grew up in, and also, you know, just to address, you know, like barking issues of masculinity. And somehow, you know, I mean, today we talk about toxic masculinity, you know, and we grow up, you know, in the township with that kind of attitude. And somehow it is like being rough is being manly, you know, and we just feel, you know, like, I mean, even when we propose, you know, I remember there was a thing of, you know, twisting the girl's hand, you know what I mean? And but that was, you know, like somewhat permitted, and it was a way of life, and we accepted that it's a way of life. But I think to this day it has escalated. How do we begin to have, I'm actually curious that the training that you guys are doing in the taxi jungler business, what is the, you know, what are the things that you are doing?
Evening viewers. Today I'm sitting as a public relation officer. I used to be a training officer.
Okay.
The training that we normally gave was customer care, customer service.
Yeah.
How do you treat your customers? I mean, bear it in mind, our customers are our fellow brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So as a result, those are our families.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter your biological mother or your biological father. But it's so unfortunate and so sad to hear such stories. Because you see these taxis, Mr. Maake, these taxis are our livelihood.
Yeah.
So being an owner, like my sister is telling her the other side of the story, not knowing your car for the past 3 days, and bear it in mind, these cars are registered under our names.
The taxi owners.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the rate of this taxi, anything that is got to do, cops or anybody, wrongfully or whatever the taxi does, it comes to me. And I have to account of who was driving the taxi.
Exactly.
Yes. But it's just unfortunately we don't do things the same. Yeah, but the matter of Mama Palesa, it needs to be dealt with. In the sense, those who haven't done it, still trying to do it, it must be the first and the last. Because these are our fellow brothers and sisters. You see, we don't want to raise our children like here in South Africa, it's a banana republic. In a sense, you rape. What if today you rape house Palesa? I mean, with blacks. 3 months down the line, there's what we call rituals and everything.
That's
You come with your friends, not knowing, oh, Palesa, it's your cousin.
Yeah.
How will you feel getting in an environment of a family, then you and your friends, you see, how will you feel? You see, Banana Republic or lawlessness must come to an end. Honestly, lawlessness must come to an end. Because now we are raising we don't want our children when they grow up, they must hate the taxi. You see these taxis? My boy is in JMPT because of this taxi money.
Yeah.
And this taxi money has helped so many people.
Yeah.
The presidents and all the families, they grow out of this taxi.
Yeah.
And let us not put a bad impact in the taxi because of some few hooligans.
Exactly.
Let's deal with the hooligans and put the hooligans out of our society, and let the law take its course.
And I'm curious to know, and I still want to, if you can allow me, to go back to the training. You say you're training them in customer service.
Yes.
What kind of a training is it?
Our kind of training is how must you see immediately the taxi is full.
Yeah.
You closing your door. First of all, how do you conduct yourself? Towards your passengers. First of all, fasten your seatbelt. Taxi is full. Greet your passengers. For you to have a safe trip, a conducive trip. Respect conquers. After you greeting them, they answered. You know, the taxi maybe Soweto. It's a Rodiport to Snake Park. Rodiport to Dobsonville. You'll have a safe trip. Ask them, anyone who wants to load off of the taxi or short left short, please speak loud. And your volume, the sound of your voice must be down. Yes. Let everyone speak up. And I normally made this example. There used to be Super 16s all apart. I grew up in Middle East.
And I once rode in one.
You enter the taxi, the driver will buy these sweets. I think they are still selling them, the smoothies. They will give each one of you, the 15 of you. You having that journey from here to whatever destination, that will be the most happiest journey. Because everybody will be smiling, eating what? The smoothies. You see? And I always make that example. Because, guys, we like it or not, this is our livelihood. We are what we are because of the taxi. Let's not undermine it. And let's not make other people to hate the taxi. We know the behaviors, but we are trying. And my wish is the government must also help us with the, whatever training that they can provide in the taxi industry. Because the government now is neglecting us. If the government can come in the table and help us, maybe every after 3 months, we need to refresh, because it's not one driver for 3 years. Every 3 months, the owners are changing drivers. And sometimes they're taking drivers with no knowledge, with no skills,
and even this, basically that comes into this question. Are there criminal checks when taxi drivers are being hired?
Yes.
Okay.
They are there whereby if you have a criminal record, you won't get what we call PDP. Yes. That's where we catch them.
All right. Okay.
Yes. A driver, we don't hire a driver without the PDP. Because PDP, it goes subs checks, the fingerprints and everything. If you have criminal record, you won't get it.
Okay, all right. Gentlemen, your experience is in the taxi business. My experience is I haven't been in a taxi in a long time. Because now, if I get into a taxi, Archie. King, Will.
Also, that this will, I just want to say, in terms of checks of the drivers, the owner also needs to check the driver.
Okay.
When he hired you, he must also check you.
Okay.
And get your references and phone around and check whether are you a bad person or not. If you're a bad person, I'll tell you straight. Say, look, I don't want any bad person in my vehicles. We deal with customers here. So if you're going to behave very badly, so don't even come nearer to me. I rather take my car, park it in the yard, and get a perfect driver for it.
Yeah. Gentlemen, your experiences in the taxi, in the taxi industry.
Yeah, this is a very sensitive issue, right? Yeah, because I like the fact that you're talking about the criminal records as well, because most of the time we don't check those things because you just need somebody who can drive the car and make money for you, and I was thinking with if we can ensure the safety. And I remember that my father, he said something about the protocols. Like we have protocols for COVID and check how quickly, they were introduced to us. And what about this pandemic, this horrendous thing that is happening to our mothers and sisters and daughters, I was thinking, because we want to create solutions. We're not blaming anyone, but we just want to make a better society, We introduce cameras, and there's a number that is available for you to actually complain instantly if you have any issues, in the taxi. And I think that way it will probably somehow, reduce, this stigma that is happening around us, Yeah.
You see, it's so nice you have raised that point. Lately, we went with Toljota in workshop, in Durban.
Yeah.
We have a company that does that. They can put cameras, and then also if you are a driver, you just put your fingerprint in, and it tells your background, says
and everything.
Every details, it comes there, and it doesn't come direct to you. It goes into a computer room, a server. Yeah, that server needs to be checked by the executive of the association.
Okay.
So they always, those guys, we need to contract them. As from next year, we're still on the process to do that.
Right.
Yes, we have seen there's a lot of bad things that are happening.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So we need to close all those things so that this industry should be, a spotless industry in terms of
and
criminal,
safe,
very safe one. When we only enter into a taxi, something that happens to us Palesa, it shouldn't happen to anybody.
Exactly.
Yes. You must know that we are safe in that vehicle.
Right. Yes. Palesa, your thoughts?
I think for the very first time, after so many years, and this is the reason why I actually shed a tear, I've had to accept an apology I never received. And this was from the Taxi Association. I learned to accept it because no one actually came and no one said anything. And for me to sit here today and hear Ndate Gamo Ari, he is sorry, it hit home and it hit hard. It really hit hard because for the longest time I accepted an apology I never received.
No, but thank you. Yes. I mean,
you see, Mr. Maake, in every association that is in Soweto, we've got what we call DC.
If you can allow me, just hold that thought. But just hold it. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to a break. More is coming after the break.
9, 8, 7.
Well, we are back. We're back with the Sello Maake Ncube father and sons conversations. We're talking about the taxi industry. What is happening, what measures are being taken in order to help make the industry a safe industry for our people, safe industry for the passengers, And also we're hearing very good news. Good news that there is some training that is being done to help drivers, you know, to make drivers to be conscious of having good customer care. But I asked you to just hold that thought. Now release the thought.
Thank you, Mr. Maake. You know, it's just unfortunate. Every association here in Soweto, we've got what we call DC.
Yeah.
Disciplinary committee.
Yeah.
Whereby if a driver verbally, physically abuses a passenger,
Yeah.
the passenger will note the number plate.
Right.
And will take the number plate to the DC. The DC will observe the protocol. We've got what we call squad mates. They will go and find the taxi, bring the taxi, and start disciplining the driver.
Okay.
We normally say our slogan is Batupili.
Right.
Why Batupili? We as taxi bosses, taxi owners,
Yeah.
without these passengers, we are nothing. And you guys must bear that in mind. These are our fellow brothers and sisters. These are not our enemies.
Absolutely.
And this taxi industry and their drivers, most of our drivers has found families out of these passengers.
Yeah.
Remember that. Because every day, if you ferry one, you know, as man, ferry the very people for 7 days, then you as a taxi driver, you begin to become frank with those people.
Yeah.
And those become now your family. Your family are not the one that you only are born with.
Yeah.
Family is everyone that you are living with. So my wish is, man, people must come down. Mr. Maake.
Yeah.
And I'll say this in the vernacular language. We must learn with Sibegezela maybe. Because there is no room for anarchy.
But I want to complain about this because I'm a driver.
Yes.
You know, I drive around. And the thing of a person just stopping, not even trying to lean out,
Yes.
you know, so that you can be able to pass.
And
And just forces you to stop. What are we going to do with just road courtesy?
yeah. Can I come?
And what are you doing about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I come in there? You see, our problem is our passengers. Our passengers, somehow, they don't observe the protocol. When the passenger says short left, the passenger expects the car to stop now.
Yeah.
And forgetting there's a car that is following the taxi. And the driver now is getting a pressure now. You see, now is the month of GBV. Should you pass that short left, drama is parking inside the taxi.
Yeah.
Short left. Are you trying to rape me? You see, such a driver now becomes scared and everything, and he stops anytime, anywhere. We will plead to our fellow passengers, please speak in time. So for the taxi to pull aside, to allow other road users to use the road.
Here's something that I remember when I used to go into taxis. You know, I mean, there was still when back in no PEM on my window. It shows them how far back.
You don't have to be.
Don't give it to my window.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't you have those kind of notices inside taxis to say, speak well in time, kulma good, or even the driver now, you know, and it becomes, oh, here's the thing, you can even make a recording. You know, it driver my sugar. You know, I press a button, button passengers because button my business is looking. My passengers, please, and tell Muti, Mazoesha, Kuluma, Gusasin is cat. Ngoma wakhuluma kunsana isikhathi itaxi izawudlula ikumise kule next short left. So mau approach leyo iwulawufana lowehle khona. Can't we do those things? What measures are you putting in place to resolve those things?
That I would say to you, you know, we do have there are some stickers that are done that Koluma in time, you know, but you know, passengers are passengers. You come from home, you have your own, stress, depressions. Maybe your family has depressed you.
Yeah.
The husband has depressed you, the wife has depressed you. Or you've got financial problems, then you come into a taxi.
Yeah.
You're right, you go, where you realize and open up your eyes and say, hey, I need to be off here.
That's it, yes.
Then you start screaming. It becomes a problem. And then also you get, our roads are not meant for us to stop, or maybe to move out. You get a road whereby a pavement is too high, where a taxi cannot climb there. So I need to put on my hazard immediately.
That's it.
And say, look, I'm stopping. Look at my hazard, and then my brakes also are on. I'm stopping now. Please, can't you stop as well? Before you get into my bed. But I'm suggesting that maybe the company that we've got now, that is dealing with all those things, your metrics and everything. Maybe we can be able to put some buttons, a bell like, a clock like, where you seated. You can be on the side where, and say, one of the passengers, please press there for me. I want to get off here. Maybe that would be another suggestion.
That would be another suggestion.
Yes.
But shall I copy it? Shall I copy it?
All right. I thought you read my mind when you're talking about buttons, because now I'm actually I'm trying to come up with solutions because, Sis Palesa is no situation. It pains me, man, And the thing is that, when these things happening to you at that moment, you have no help. The only thing that you are facing now is the reality that is in front of your eyes. Understand? And even to us men, when sometimes abantu bamapaga or ushayiwa abantu abayi-5, you see yourself and you ask yourself, do I deserve this? Because at that time you find it you're innocent. It's just that there was a misunderstanding between two people. And then two people, the one will actually invite the gang. And the gang, they just join, but without knowing the reality fact of the argument or the issue on table. And as I was saying, the button. I was actually suggesting there must be an emergency button for example, whenever you have a panic button, sort of like that, and the cars, they have trackers and everything, and when there is a panic button pressed, then immediately there must be some response, to check where is this car and what's happening with it. You understand? The panic button should be for the driver and for the passengers as well at the same time. Because Sis Palesa's situation, she was comfortable in the taxi and she was seeing everything normal until to the last moment when she sees something is not right here. And that's the panic button now having to be accessed, you see. And when you press that button, immediately, probably after some few minutes, the car will be tracked, maybe before anything happens, So those are just things that I'm just coming up with,
Palesa, you wanted to say something?
I hear you now, but I also just want to ask something with regard to that. If a panic button is installed, let's say in my case, right? The guys, obviously, they know there are panic buttons in the cars, just like trackers. So they steal cars, they remove them, right? So what would then deter them from removing my panic button? Because if they already have those intentions, it means that they would have covered everything that would not make them accessible to the next, right? So I'm actually just thinking that the Maake is that maybe the association can also go an extra mile, right? Into having sort of a, I don't know what do they call it, but then we have a, where you have those remote things, like the mines have these things where they check the satellites and whatever. So let's say at Doljota, we've been to the offices, so they've got an office like that where we have somebody that works there. So each taxi, I assume, does have a tracker, right? So we track down these taxis that are connected to whatever from point A to point B. So these guys must basically be employed to actually monitor the movements of these taxis, because yes, the panic button, it might help, But then when people have got intentions, you cannot stand ahead of somebody else's intention. You know, you can't stand ahead of that.
You know, as you're saying that, I'm tempted to speak of the, you know, board. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And but now, and I'm looking at how about using the same thing, because now with you guys you have roots. you know what I mean? And that if a taxi is basically on the route, and I mean these things now, I mean technology, I think somehow it is like making things, you know, easier for us. That even, and I think that will even help the owners. You know what I mean? That I mean though, I mean I think what the tracker does that, but when the taxi is in business, and it's very rare when, you know, there are deliveries. So if there's a delivery again, you know how to. I don't know, you know, your thoughts on that.
You see that, Maake?
Yes.
Let me just come in. You know how BRT works?
BRT, what is the
Ravaya.
The Ravaya, yes.
They do have a room where they've got screens.
Yes.
You know, they monitor those buses
Right.
through the screens. It's sort of a call center like.
Okay.
My suggestion to taxi stations is have such screens.
That's what
You know,
I
have, you know, people who works. They can be two of them. You know,
Yeah.
it's a job creation as well. You know, job employment creation. You look at all those cars. We know our cars start at, say, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Our last load should be 7:30. If the car doesn't come 7:30 back, you check it on the screen and say to the owner, look, your car is out of the route. You know, let's look at it. You know, call your tracker and just to find out where's your vehicle. Then we can be able to trace, you know, cases. Palesa, you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
you shouldn't have more of those cases. It should be the first and the last one.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, it shouldn't happen at all. You know, I think, you know, it's a good suggestion that you come up with, my sister. We'll be able to speak to the association, the executive of the association. It's so lucky that that Chambada is here. You know, he's one of the executive of Doljota. He can also, you know, pass the message to the chairperson, which is Ndate Peter Mabe. You know,
Yes.
he'll be able to look at it and
Right.
say, this for my passengers to be safe. Let's do,
Let's
you know,
consider
a call center. We can get one company that can do that for us.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
We take all the trackers, different trackers from our vehicles.
Yes.
We contract with one car tracker, you know, then we carry on.
Absolutely. I want you to million.
Yeah, to add on that, I appeal to our fellow passengers. You see, in Soweto, we are the first association. You see, our cars are branded. From locally, we've got local, we've got Rodiport, we've got Johannesburg, we've got Clearwater, we've got Lerato. All of those cars are branded.
Okay.
And you getting into a taxi, you must be sure which sticker is there. And mostly in that sticker, there are phone numbers of the owner of the association. We've got Toljota at MWeb, by complaints and everything. Yeah. And then phone numbers of the owner, initial surname of the owner. And other association they did follow. I see now Nandue, they've got Water, they've got Midlands, they also
Right.
Those big stickers. We appeal to our fellow passengers.
Yeah.
Don't climb into a taxi that does not have a sticker.
You know,
Because
you're saying that, you know, I'm just asking, I'm just wondering actually, that how can we not, you know, like buses have got numbers.
yes,
You know, and maybe also that thing of putting numbers.
Yes.
You know, I mean, well, you know, like sometimes the taxi, you know, what gets buggered.
Yes.
But when it is buggered, then, you know, it's either, you know, I don't know, you know, a decision will have to be taken whether that number goes back.
Yes.
You know, and it will be actually, you know, changed and given back to, or given to another taxi, or the owner will actually hold on to that, you know, that number. You know, but that in itself helps the identification of taxis much easier.
Correct.
You know, and that could be another, another way.
Yes, another thing, they mustn't climb into taxis that if the taxi, the number plate, let's assume it's fallen.
Yeah.
The number plate must be displayed in the windscreen.
Right.
If there is no number plate in the that space and in the windscreen, don't ever climb the taxi. And does not show any sticker. Don't climb. You cannot climb a taxi whereby you find there are just males inside. You can't take such risk.
Yeah.
But because you don't know, you are desperate.
Palesa is refusing there.
Yes.
I beg to differ, sir.
Yes.
A taxi is a mode of transport, right? And I mean, if you say to me that let's park my experience.
Yes.
Let's talk about there's nothing. We just getting into a taxi and I need to move from point A to B. Let's forget that they are rape. Let's forget that they are everything. Let's forget everything. Let's just start on a clean slate. And I know that a taxi is my mode of transport. I stop a taxi, there are men inside. Now, I'm looking at the time, I'm supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock. And now, because all the taxis are coming in, there are men inside. Am I now saying, what you're saying to me indirectly, when I take my experience, is that I should now label all men? Because if I am not supposed to get into a taxi because there are men inside, based on my experience, it means that I assume that all of y'all will rape me. So I want to cancel that one, Maake, because it would not give a good impression on men, right? Because all men cannot be painted with the same brush.
That's correct.
You know, and like I was saying already, you know, like the discussions that we are having, you know, with the boys, it's all about changing toxic behavior, you know, and I'm asking, what are the associations doing in, you know, training drivers and even teaching them about gender issues, about, you know, just awareness of how to even treat another person. And in this case, you know, I'm not meaning even just ladies, but that there should be etiquette.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Customer etiquette, and to know, you know, like the thing that the customer is always right. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And it's restraint, you know, are there anger management for taxi drivers? Because I can imagine staying on the road,
Yes.
you know, the whole day.
Yes.
It's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
You know, it can get to you, you know.
Maake, I always advise our fellow drivers for the
Yeah.
that's number one. And once you don't talk to people with respect, some they take offense.
Yeah.
Some they've got their husband being a soldier, a thug at home, having a gun, not, you know. And then the next time you are spotted because you are driving a taxi. The next time you talk to people badly, you insult people, you abuse people, they'll just come and point to you not being aware.
Yeah.
The next time the person climb in a taxi as a passenger.
Yeah.
And tomorrow it will be amen with you.
Yeah.
So I always advise them, let's treat each other with respect. As
Yeah.
You see, with Palesa's case, it's very unfortunate and sad. That's why when we started apologizing as the taxi leadership.
Yes.
Because whatever is wrong in the taxi leadership, whether it happened in Northwest or in Durban or whatever province,
Exactly.
I mean, we need to take responsibility. Again, we apologize and ask every taxi driver, please, to conduct himself with respect.
Yeah.
And don't forget, these are our fellows, brothers and sisters. And we need to really, we need to raise our children in another way.
Exactly.
In a sense, we don't want Palesa's kids to hate the taxi because of this, but they will have an attitude. Slightly thing with Palesa's daughter, you'll just not because of
that's
experience.
It. Palesa, your thoughts?
I think I would suggest that Itu is that, as much as, yes, we want to blame, but then in other instances, I think Nami as a passenger, I also need to take accountability for my actions, right? So I would suggest maybe, as much as you guys are also doing trainings, right? I believe that bare ngaka ikasi kalafi, right? You guys need to also make the taxi drivers feel important, number one. Care for them. When I say make them feel important, is that what I'm basically trying to drive here is that you guys need to have programs in place. Programs like team buildings. Programs, when we start with team buildings, because then we also have our we time, where they also need to get to know each other from different points that they come from, right? Outside of the association. Book them in, invest in them, because they are also investing in you guys, right? So book them in somewhere, take them to Badplaats for a weekend, or not even a weekend, so maybe 2 days or so, and then have that team building. And then show them, this is how you guys want to do. Show them that you care about them. Show them that it's not just about them making money for you guys. So that they feel also of importance as a human being before even a taxi driver. Right?
Yeah. And adding on that, I think we should also have where you can just say, Uti, I got a good service from this driver,
Yes.
I think that recognition, Uti, like you are trying to do your best as a driver, because the drivers are pretty most of the time, there's that customer service to have, Yeah.
Let me just come in. There was a lady who was driving a taxi. I think she's in Alberton.
Yeah.
That lady, she won Best Driver of the Year last year. And she was awarded with a brand new Ncube.
Wow.
From Halfway Toyota. Those are, remunerations that we are doing as taxi associations. Because we're pumping a lot of money into these companies. We're pumping a lot of money into Toyota. You go to Shell Garage, you're pumping a lot of money. Everywhere. Each and every space, we're pumping a lot of money. So we go to these companies and say, look, we've got this reward that we need to do.
Time is never on our side. Last words is
again, my wish is let's all be responsible and change our behaviors. And the saddest part in my association as a whole, maybe we have more than 30 or 15 female drivers.
Wow.
Female from rank 5 Abosbong and everybody. But my wish is let's come back to the table and be responsible and take care of each other.
I remember when I was in London, taxi drivers were black cabs. Those guys don't get the license to drive until they know London fully. But what I'm trying to emphasize is that training is so important. These guys apparently, because they know London like the back of their hand. You know what I mean? And I'm just wishing that we could get to a space where we can train drivers to have character and respectable character for them, and so that when they treat passengers, they don't treat them shabbily, but they treat them with a panache. Well, time is never on our side. Time is jealous. I'm Sello Maake Ncube with my guests from the taxi associations and Palesa and my sons. Now I'm actually saying bye-bye in the rush, but I'm saying them anyway. Toodaloo, arrivederci, sayonara, bye-bye.